to tell you a story about the time when I got in my own way. It was a number of years ago, and the two of us were presenting a workshop down at the Marriott at the hotel. And we had prepared, we were excited, I was ready to go. There we were in this room with 150 people, and it was very exciting. And very quickly on in my talk, I tripped over my words. And I had what we call a shame attack. I started obsessing about how awful it was. I was terrified that other people were judging me as harshly as I was judging myself. And it took everything that I had to stay on task. I don't know how I did it, but I did stay on task. We've all had this experience in some ways, right? My heart was pounding and racing so fast, which was the last thing I wanted to be going on. Heat was flooding me. Adrenaline was shooting like geysers in my brain. It was really not a fun time. Well, the next day of this two-day conference, Beth and I got together and had coffee in this big room at the hotel, and she asked me about the night before. And we were just casually talking, and I started telling her about how I had this conversation with my husband, and I started to tell him about how lousy I had done, and how I had messed up with this way that I had messed up my words. And she stared at me blankly. She had no idea what I was talking about. It was really clear in seeing her face that something was off in my perception and her face. And she said, I have no idea what you're talking about. And at that moment, I realized that I had been so under the spell of my inner critic that I never even checked it out with her. I had been so snookered by the way that the inner critic operates, its authoritative way of speaking that is certain about the way it sees things. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no question marks like maybe this is the way it is. It's just a fait accompli. This is it, and no question, you're it. We looked at each other and said, oh my God, what is this? That you could be really confident about what you're going to do and how you're going to do it, be as prepared as you can be, and in a flash, be emotionally hijacked by this emotional part of our thinking and our feeling system. And we started spending a lot of time since then studying how does this work with ourselves and how does this work with the people that we work with. And what we have come to understand is that we can't protect ourselves against this happening. At any moment in time, any one of us can be triggered and have a shame attack or be emotionally hijacked by our inner critic. What we can do, though, is we can become really smart about how this operates. We can become more informed about how emotional thinking and how emotional reasoning happens, so that when we're in the midst of it, we can have that awareness of, oh no, it's happening. Be careful and not take this so seriously. Because when we question the credibility of the inner critic, when we question the story that it's exaggerating, the story that it's distorting, we then have a way to protect ourselves, and we have a way to hold our ground, stay resilient, stay on task, and do the show or do whatever it is that we're doing.